Lowe's always has more ways for you to save. On top of our everyday low prices, pros can save big when buying in bulk. Or if your purchase is over $1,500, ask about our Volume Savings Program. A pro associate can provide a customized quote. Ask about our Volume Savings Programs today. It always pays to be a pro at Lowe's. While supplies last, minimum purchase required. Selection varies by location. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities. Volume discount pricing quotes are valid up to 7 days. Visit your local pro desk to learn more and start saving. Offers subject to change and may not be available in all Lowe's stores.
WQEE 99.1 FM The Key, home of Southern sports and talk. Noonan, Sharpsburg, Franklin. The views and opinions of this show and program are not the views and opinions of this station, its management, or its clientele. It's now time for Tea Talks with your host, Margie Conway, in association with Connecting Hearts Network, connecting hearts of women to resources, inspiration, and one another. Sponsored by Pia Payne and Contour Mortgage, Warrior Defenders, Happy Life Nutrition, Killingsworth Realtor, and Family Patterns Matter. Now here's your host of Tea Talk, Margie Conway.
I am Margie Conway, and this is Connecting Hearts Network. This episode's going to be a little bit of a Tea Talk and a little bit of a heart-to-heart, because I have much to share with you. As we start our new format for a longer show, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to for our guests and for me also. So today I want to share with you the audio from our anniversary party at the end of January 2023. It discusses all the things that we did as a studio and as a radio station over the year and recognizes some key people in our year as we went along, especially our Open Heart Award winners. They get to share with you their testimonies of what it is like being a part of the Connecting Hearts Network on the radio or inside the studio in workshop activities. So I would love for you to join in with us as you listen to them with our awards at this time. Thank you everybody for watching. This has been an incredible year that we've had. We started off in the small room over at Happy Life. We've been able to move to this location. We started our radio show off, which I never knew I wanted to be on, until we've ended up to the point that we have 2 shows, and we're fixing to expand the length of them. And I have met some incredible people over the last year, and which includes all of you in this room and quite a few I know that will be listening. And I know that we're going to meet a lot more because God is expanding things, and it is just... It is showing in many ways the different people that's coming in. We have all the information for classes and things we're doing, and people are on Facebook responding. This is something that I know women need. You know, we need community. We need a safe place. We need a place where we can heal if we need to get some joy and some peace. And I have seen that happen with women over the last year, so I'm just thrilled to be a part of it. And so I'm glad that all of you are here with me. So we're going to do some awards because I could not have done this by myself at all. And so the very first thing I want to do is I want to recognize Ricky because he puts up with me all the time. And that's not an easy thing to do. I am hard to put up with. And so he is very supportive. And for this event here today, I've said him and Amy probably wishes they never heard my name. But I know that it's been that way several times when we've done church activities and events too, because I do get a little stressed when it's time for us to do these things. So I just want to, let them know how much I appreciate them. And Chris and Heather and Haley and the rest of our family, because they've been very supportive through the whole thing. Amy, wherever she's hiding, I could not do any of this without Amy. And, make sure you appreciate her because we need to let her know how much we appreciate our Amy because I cannot do anything without Amy. You have no idea all the stuff she does in the background. So I do want to point out that we have treats over there that we got from Crandora's Box on Facebook. We have the great cookies that we got from Creations by Sweet Creations by Felicia. Debbie Boswell made us some treats, and we have all these good things going on. We've had these store prizes that's been given by our sponsors and other people. We're going to draw a few of those in a minute. So a lot of people has really put a lot of work into it. Two of the things that you have to bear with me. The envelopes are not pretty. I tore them in my anxiety. So that's okay. You will appreciate what's in them more than the envelope. I did do that. We were doing a sharing thing with our reel the other night, and we were going to draw for a gift certificate in our little shop because we do have the store items that you can purchase, which helps to keep the other activities going around here. And several people shared, and the reel got lots of views, actually, because of me putting the little Cheers song on it. The Cheers, whatever, picked it up, and it got like 1,000 views on it. And so, but there was a lot of sharing going around. So I am presenting the sharing prize, which is a $25 gift certificate to our store to Linda Kirkpatrick. Her name would have had to have been drawn because where other people shared it once, she shared it like 10 times. So it went in every group, and Linda was really good doing it. But one thing I want to say, well, I'll wait and say that in a minute because you're going to have to come back up here in a minute.
No.
But I love Linda. She is just such a sweetheart, and I appreciate all the support she gives us.
Well, I am so glad you came into my life.
Well, I'll let you say that again.
Okay.
All right, so then we have some very important people, one of which needs to just come on back up here, Linda.
For God's sake!
We have some awesome sponsors. And we have our founding 4 sponsors, which is the first 4 people that jumped in and said, yes, I'll sponsor the radio. Chad pops in, and he told me one day, he said, Marge, he said, everybody in our family, I find it hard to believe that you're the one on the radio. I said, Chad, I find it hard to believe people are sponsoring me to be on the radio. And so Linda is one of our sponsors. She sponsors through Family Patterns Matters, which is her nonprofit that she runs for at-risk youth. We will put links out everywhere. It is an awesome thing that we are happy to be a part of. But Linda also works her rear end off going out and spreading our message. When we gave our Be Kind bags out last year, out of the bags I know we gave over 3,000 bags out. And I would think that Linda probably did 1,500 of them. I mean, she has been spreading our message and sending things around, and we appreciate you so very much. We could not do this without you.
Well, I couldn't do what I do without people like you, and you're so special. I just love you.
All right, one of our founding 4 sponsors is Amy Killingsworth with Killingsworth Realty. She's not able to be here today because she had to go to a family reunion with her husband. But we love Amy. She has jumped in, and I've known her on and off for a while. But last year she said she wanted to do a Bible study, and I said, well, come in and do it at the studio. So she does our Wednesday Bible study. And you can look over on the table. There's information because we're starting a new one this week, and Amy will be facilitating it. But right now, she's off with her husband, so we will present that to her later. I'm sorry. Our next of our founding 4 sponsors is Holly Reese with Warrior Defenders. We appreciate you so very much.
Love you.
We love what you do. And we love that you are going out doing what you're doing and spreading the news about what we're doing.
I'm glad we were ever introduced.
Yeah, we make a dynamic duo.
Thank you.
So I love Holly. And then, of course, our very first of our founding 4 sponsors is Pina Payne. You were the first. Ryan said, if you're going to do a radio program, typically you get sponsors and you do this and that. So I went home, I told Ricky, I said, I'm doing a radio program. I called Heather Chris, I said, I'm doing a radio program. I called Pina, I said, I'm doing a radio program. You want to sponsor? And she didn't even ask any questions. She just said, sure.
As long as I don't have to talk.
As long as she don't have to talk. She doesn't want to talk. But she's done a couple of episodes with a couple of groups, and they were phenomenal. So we got to get that group back together again. But Pina is one of my dearest friends. I love her greatly. She exemplifies what we want to do with women here. She is risen up above a lot of things, and you still keep your faith, and you still keep your family centered, and you go forth. And we are pleased to be able to say that you're one of our sponsors. All right, now we're going to move into our Open Heart Awards. Our Open Heart Awards are for people who have been on a radio show. When I was putting the event together, I said, oh, we're going to do Open Heart Awards. And then my head was like, what do you mean by that? So what we did is we got an independent, anonymous, unbiased judge to go through all of our 50-something episodes and pick some of our episodes as the most informative, the most entertaining, and the most inspiring. So we have those here, and we have these lovely awards for them that we're going to do them. But first, we're going to do our People's Choice Awards. There is no secret as to why this person is winning the People's Choice Awards. Just like she's got her troops together to pray for her husband when he was in the hospital with COVID, and you can read all about that in her book. It's really cool. She got her troops together to come vote for her so she could win the gift certificate as People's Choice. So Michelle, please come on up. Michelle Mashburn. She gets a $50 gift certificate. And our gratitude for sharing everything and her story, because that is very inspiring. This is one that I'd see her on the internet, and I saw her while she was going through this with her husband, and it was one of those, I need to know this person. So I ran into her at a craft sale that somebody was having, an estate sale, and I said, I need to talk to you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, I
It's
thank
been
you.
a blessing.
Yes, it has. We've attended a Bible study where she's at Rehoboth Baptist. It's a phenomenal group of ladies down there. We just loved it. And she's come up here to some of the things that we had, so I'm sure we'll do more together.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you. All right, now we have our awards, which was picked by the unbiased anonymous judge, which was not me. And it was not Ricky, and y'all don't really know them, so you can't even wonder who did it. The first one I'm going to go ahead and announce, and this person is not here, but I have talked to her. She's in Mexico. I'd be in Mexico too if I had a chance, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, she's in Mexico, so she couldn't be here today. Our most entertaining for the 2022 season was Susie Berta. If you don't know who Susie Berta was, she wrote a book called The Veterinarian's Wife. And her husband was a veterinarian around the county for many, many, many years. And he would come home and tell her the funny stories he encountered. And so she told him, you need to write a book. Well, he had wanted to write a book. So she wrote a book. And she included his stories, but she realized as she was writing his stories that there was things at home and how she felt and things going on. So she added that aspect into his stories, which rounded them all out. But Susie Berta, the way I got to know her is she had put something about her book on Facebook. And I'm like, oh, you need to come on the radio. And I started checking her out. She is a columnist for the Noonan Times Herald. She writes a weekly column for them. And she was one of the singers and a soloist for the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra that has traveled all over the world singing. And she just has story after story that's extremely entertaining. So if you get a chance to go talk to her, please do. And when she gets back, we're going to make a presentation to her for her award. So if we could give her a hand, I'd appreciate it. Then we have, oh, Michelle, I forgot to give you your certificate. I am so sorry. Thank you. Then we have the most informative, and that was kind of hard. Now, I will say that all of mine were disqualified. And the few tea talks that we did that had 4 or 5 people on there that were all very informative were not included in these because they're going to be in a separate category later. But we had the most informative, and that was picked based on information that they were sharing with people that people could use. And we've had a lot of good people on our show that has done that. But our, again, anonymous, unbiased judge picked this one to be the most informative. And it is Olga.
Oh, God.
Come here, Olga.
And apologies, but yes, since I met Margie and I'm immersing into a new field, wow, Farandula. I just happen to be, I have to apologize because I love her dearly, but I was talking with someone.
She's always talking with someone.
No, well, this is very important to me. I have 2 sons in the military, and I'm trying to get involved with suicide prevention in the military, and someone was just responding to a message. You know, I love you.
Here's the thing.
I was texting.
So we can take a picture. No crying.
I was texting with them.
No crying.
Because
I say it.
Yeah, I am gonna get involved. No, I'm probably not happy.
I know.
All right, here's the thing. Olga has been on our show.
No, but I
couple
love
of
her
different
dearly, so I
times.
don't want to be disrespectful, but yeah, you called me in the message, and it was something important.
And she
that we're
talks a
requiring.
lot.
Yes, I do.
Well,
and fast. So
my
let me do my
funny
best.
story about Olga is she went to volunteer for the Sacred Journey Hospice, and the woman called me for a reference, and she asked how Olga's communication skills was. I said, well, she communicates very well in multiple languages, and she started laughing. She said, yes, she does. All right, Olga, yours was picked as the most informative of our whole year, and it was the episode where you came on talking about being a Tana doula and how to be your own advocate and how to do the what are all them papers you told us to fill out?
How to think of, as I was telling her, just before you pass, and I will look forward to be educating people in the community on this. This is very important, and I was telling her how most people are very aware of power of attorneys.
Yeah.
Medical directives is one of the latest ones, and I do that as a job. That's one of the things I do independently. I draft documents, legal documents. But then as I immerse in this field of, death, before, during, and after someone passes, but before someone passes, is educating people on steps to take to make the grieving process less painful. People think, hi, how are you, by the way? I hadn't said hi. People think of legal paperwork. It is important. And as you approach a time when you're passing, if you know you're passing, or if it happens by accident, hi, how are you? Medical directives are important, but I'm going to be more engaged on educating and other things. An example is mediation to bring closure to families when they're having things they want to resolve. Because one of the things that's most important to a person when they're passing, I became certified as a Tana doula last year. And I remember the instructor mentioning this, and it got to me because I lost a son 3 years ago. I went through a messy, emotionally and spiritual messy time because the father and I don't get along. So, hey, God puts you in spots when it makes you think about these things. And I would like to help people think, okay, especially the patient, the person, not the patient, the person. What do they want to do? What do they like to do in this before they transition to become peaceful, to find peace? Right. That's going to be my ultimate goal.
And well, you've already won an
Within all
award
the
for
things I'm
doing
doing. Thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. Wow. Thank you, Margie.
it. You're welcome. We love you.
I do too. There's so many wonderful women that are part of this network. I cannot stop stressing
I
it.
want to personally thank you for bringing that awareness of the
We are
veteran suicide.
working with some
I
military.
am a big supporter of 22 a day.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you that don't know, there's 22 veterans per day that commit suicide.
My son, I can say, he passed 3 years ago. He committed suicide. He enlisted to the Air Force. But the reason why, well, anyhow, long story short, I have 2 sons in the military.
Thank you.
And they are grieving because they lost a brother. So it's not just because I'm in the military, but yes, as a mom, I leave every day thinking, how are they doing? How are they dealing with it? They're in the military, but it was before he joined. I have a son in the Marines. It's going to be 8 years this year. And then a son in the Air Force. And he just went to Washington. Luckily, they're together. They're closer now. So I'm very...
On behalf of me and my wife, tell them
Nice to meet you.
thank them for their
Before you
service.
go, please let me know. I would like to...
Okay. Okay.
What
I'm
would
sorry.
you
I didn't
say?
mean
No,
to.
no. I want to know about that.
right.
We're going to be very involved with that.
So let's give Olga a hand because this is very personal for her, and that's one reason she's so good at educating about it. All right.
The ability of 3 languages.
Now we have our most inspirational guest of the year because we want to inspire ladies, and this was really a hard category because we've had a woman that has recuperated from brain surgery and brain tumors, and one that was getting a report for chemo and found out she was pregnant and had to go through chemo and everything while she worked on a cancer ward as a nurse and things. But our unbiased, nonpartisan judge, and I agree with them, picked this person inspirational because of their story from beginning to where they are now. So this is when I announce her name, you'll say, yeah, that's true. So Holly Reese. Holly! Holly, when I met her, she is a domestic violence survivor. And she has done a complete personality change since I've met her. And she has taken what was meant for harm and turned it to good. And she educates women. She doesn't just do like I do and say, here's a stun gun. She takes it to the extreme. She makes it her life journey to educate women to defend themselves and to take care of themselves and know that they do not have to put up with abuse. She even carries it all the way down to Girl Scout level. So she takes what she had that could be a trauma and it could scar you for life and does many people, and she has turned it all around. So we want to give you the most inspirational for 2022.
I want to say that for those of you who don't know, the reason I was able to take my life back was because I met Margie and she introduced me to non-lethal forms of defense. So without her, I could still be at home and not know what to do. So she was a big part of my journey.
I love you.
Love you too.
We have so many women in our groups that just have wonderful stories. We have so many more we're going to share with you this next year. We have so many experiences and classes. So I would like to get you, if you're listening online or if you're here, to bring your friends, bring the ladies. We have all kinds of stuff going on for them. And I just want to thank everyone again for their support over the last year. And I look forward to what adventures this year brings us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. We're going to do some more door prizes and have some more fun. If you didn't make it in person, you really missed a good time. But you can join us at another event you can find online in our Self-Care Saturdays that's coming up next month. Thank you.
Just the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, we had a really great first year. There is nothing for us to complain about. We started off in one room at the Happy Life Nutrition, and we spent a year there meeting with people in the dining room and back in our little studio and up at the radio station. And, you know, we never could have predicted the adventure that God had in store for us as we started all of our programs. I really am excited to know what will be coming up in the new year. But I know as you listen to our awards programs, you heard that we did do our Open Heart Awards for the most inspirational, informational, and entertaining guests that we had last year. Last year, we had over 50 shows that we did between the two that we did, several of which, you know, some of the guests returned more than once, and quite a few I did solo. So I, you know, try to bring on the best guests for you to be able to have resources and information that actually fit your life. Sometimes when we do our things, it may be that, you know, it's a local business and they're telling what they can do for you. But what I like about our guests is their backstories on how they got into that business, on how God has moved them through their lives to different things so that they're where they are now. I know personally, when I look back upon my life, I can say that as of December 2021, when Brian walked in and mentioned radio, I was like, oh no, I don't want anything to do with that. But by the end of January of 22, I was on the radio. I can now, I mean, obviously right at that point was the fact that I had spent around 17 or 18 years doing video and radio production at my local church, because the pastor that I started with had radio and TV programs. So I started off doing that type of thing way back when we had to capture it on those old Super 8 tapes with the huge cameras. And we had this reel-to-reel thing back in the sound room with everything up in a tower. So to get the audio, you had to capture it on that, and then it would put it on a cassette tape, and we would sit there and put the cassette tapes in the duplicator and make copies and you know, handle it that way. That was really a chore, guys, and I know there's people out there that would remember way back before that was even an option. You know, I can remember back when I was a little girl when my dad would want to learn a song that we had on an LP album. I would be the one that would be over there that would be lifting the little fork up so it wouldn't play until he got through writing down the lyrics and then putting it back and lifting it up and putting it back. So I guess that was really my first starts in production. But then a friend reminded me that when I was a teenager, about 15 years old, she and I went to a Mercer University Upward Bound program, which was a college prep for high school students. They did aptitude tests, and they put me back in TV and radio programming back then. So that's when I first encountered those super big cameras and those huge microphones that you had to have with the speakers. You know, the speakers took up most of the room. And so God has been lining me up to do something like this for the majority of my life in one way or another. I remember when we were at the church and we went from those tapes to CDs, we all thought we were in heaven. But, you know, again, we had that duplicator machine for the CD, so you put the master in and it would do one or two at a time. Now that we have it digital, I have found, you know, myself, even at a church event this weekend, they had DVDs and CDs for sale, saying, don't you have it on a USB drive? Because that makes it so much easier, because nowadays we don't even have CD and DVD players in our home. So God moves with the technology, and I am living proof that He will equip you to do what He wants you to do. I know that when I first started talking about being on the radio, I was like, okay, I have to improve in my diction, because I hadn't had to be professional about it in a long time. And I want you to pay attention and sound like I made some little bit of sense. But I was told, no, not try to do too much of it, that it was my personality that would come across if I didn't change the way I am. And so, you know, I was at a point in life where I'm striving to be as authentic as possible, not to have a whole bunch of secrets in the background, to finally have told people things and use that information to help other people, because that's what the Bible says that we are to do, is to comfort one another with the comfort that we've received. So that's the whole basis for our studio and for this radio program. Our studio, you'll hear us referred to as Connecting Hearts Network and as Creative Hearts Studios. Creative Hearts Studios is me and my friend Amy and our particular business, where we have life coaching and art therapy and individual sessions with people. We're doing community crafting things. We're doing just a little bit of all kinds of things, gathering, self-care Saturdays and things. But Connecting Hearts Network is me and our sponsors and the others that we bring in to work with us, which is actually what the self-care Saturdays consist of, and the radio program and the things that we're looking to build online. But at our studio, the basis is that we just want women to come in, to be able to let a load off, to just take a deep breath, to realize that they're not alone. Everything's not their job. They can, you know, they have other people with them. You know, we might not have been through or going through exactly what they are, but we're still there to walk the journey with them. And if it's not us that they need to walk with, we have many other people that's getting involved with us. But we will send them out somewhere else if they need more help than we can give. We just want to lift the load a little bit and to, you know, pat you on the shoulder, tell you good job, and help you gain a little bit of peace and joy, because that is what we all need. And so I stop and think, what have I needed in my life? And that's what I try to provide for other women. But I have been surrounded by a network of women who are wonderful at doing that type of thing. And, you know, you've met some of them and our sponsors that we have on now in the video that we talked about. And so, you know, to have Peanut and Amy and Holly and Linda and Christy as our sponsors, we are so very blessed. And those ladies cover insurance, they cover real estate, they cover mortgages and finances, they cover self-defense and family matters. So we have a pretty good group going on in there. We have some programs that we do on a regular basis, and one is our Wednesday Bible study. Amy Killingsworth is leading it, and we are on our 4th book now, which is Joyce Meyer's Doing It Afraid. And you can still join in with that if you'd like. We have our self-care Saturdays, and those are days where we have different people come in to teach you things, and and about taking care of yourself, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You have to refill that cup. So we have that going on, and we're about to have our first tea party, which is going to be a good time. You don't have to worry about me trying to teach you anything. We're going to have a good time. So look for it on Facebook and how to get tickets to it. Our retreat is scheduled for September, and I can't wait for that. But one of our most important programs that we do is the Her Journey. We did Her Journey before Creative Heart Studios was ever formed, and we started it at our church. You've heard us mention it from time to time, but it is the program that comes from Oregon that was designed for women who had been through domestic violence or abuse. However, I always tell you, I think every woman alive should take it, because it helps us know what abuse is, how to have healthy relationships, how to have conflict resolution, how to deal with our anger, with our loneliness, with our boundary issues, and many other things that, we women deal with. So I think we all need to take it. And I quite often say, if you don't want to take it in person from me, I can hook you up with a Zoom. There are some wonderful teachers on Zoom. But we would invite you to come, even if you have not been through domestic violence and abuse. We have part of a segment that is going to play in just a minute that has the testimony from 5 very different women who have been through the Her Journey program with us. And, a couple of us have had domestic violence and abuse in our past, but a couple of them has not. And they have learned how to handle their anger, how to handle other emotions and express themselves well through the Her Journey curriculum. So we most definitely invite you to participate with us in that, or to refer it to someone else that might need this information. So I'm going to thank you for bearing with me today, and I'm going to plug you into the Her Journey testimonies, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you. Our Her Journey program that we teach at Creative Heart Studios and at my local church. This program is for women who have been or are in domestic violence or abuse situations. But I always say I believe every woman alive should take it, because it has value for you in teaching you who you are and how to set boundaries and how to handle emotions and, what healthy relationships should be like. So we want to just take this opportunity just to share some experiences with it. And we have a wide group of ladies here who have gone through or are going through it from different backgrounds and situations that are going to share with you while we do it. But for a moment, I want to share how I got into it, in case you haven't heard that yet. I, in 2017, had what I called then a breakdown, but now I call it a breakthrough, and found it necessary to go to counseling to heal from things I grew up with in the childhood and my first marriage, where I ended up putting 2 children up for adoption because we just couldn't manage it. And most of those things I thought I had dealt with, but I'd basically just put them behind me and tried to move forward, and they caught up to me one year. That year I had a huge breakdown, and I ended up sitting in the floor thinking, oh God, what's happening? And somebody told me to go to Christian Families Today, which I did. And I credit that with God using it as a tool to help me heal and save my life, because it was really that bad, folks. It's when you go through something that's traumatic, you have to deal with it. If you don't deal with it, then it's going to stay with you until you do deal with it. And sometimes you have to deal with it in layers. You deal with it a little bit now and a little bit later. And as I started doing this, secrets I had pretty much kept for 50 years, I just opened my Pandora's box and told everybody everything about all of it. Most of the people I was around at the time did not have a clue about any of it. But the more that I talked, the more women started coming to me and telling me their stories that they hadn't told other people. I had one older woman come and share her story about adoption in the 50s that she had never shared with anyone but her husband. And we were able to get her in reunion with her daughter before she passed. And so those opportunities, though, especially about women who had been through traumatic things, led me to saying, Lord, you better tell me what to say to these women because I have no clue. And I swear I didn't say anywhere around the internet or Facebook. It was just in my mind. But on Facebook, as will happen, her journey and ARMS, which is abuse. See, I can't even get it out of my head right now. But Abuse Recovery Ministries, and it's based out of Oregon. And a woman named Julie is the first one that I made contact with. And this program that they have put together has been going for many years. And Stacy, who is the founder and developer of the program, is now, one of the largest advocates for domestic violence victims in the U.S. This program is faith-based, but it is non-denominational as you teach it. And for some women who have been through going to their pastors and sharing their problems, get told things like you have to stay, and if you would be more meek and respect him more and submit more and stuff, then it would change, and that's not what changes it. And, some women have stayed until death do you part, really, by the death doing them part, because they didn't know what else to do and felt that was their duty. So in her journey, we make sure that we, tell you, no, we're not advocates for divorce, but we are advocates for your safety, and we are advocates for you to be able to have an abundant life. And we are advocates for you to do what you can to heal and change yourself as much as you need to do, not because any abuse or domestic violence that you would have went through would have been your fault, but because it has left a mark on you that you need to be able to heal. So anyway, that's enough about me giving you a head start. We're going to move in, and we have the first lady that I'm going to have you talk to is our warrior defender, Holly. Holly and I connected several years before I even found her journey, and when I started telling her about it, she was very excited. And the day I got my certificate in the mail, Holly was the first person I called. And out of all the college classes and trainings and coaching classes and everything else I took, this one certificate is one to me that felt like it was actually turning everything I did into something good. So, Holly, tell us a little bit about you and your experience with her journey.
Well, I was so excited when you told me about the program because it's perfect for all women, not just people like me that's a survivor, but for women who have been through any type of trauma, family, relationships, divorce, loss of a loved one. It covers all of that and teaches you how to incorporate positivity through these circumstances and to heal through them. When you're going through the classes and you're learning, you then listen to and do your homework. That's important. And listen to what your mind and body is telling you from the responses, and then you're like, have these light bulb moments. And it's really a fascinating program. And it's really something the community needs here in the area for every woman.
And I agree with you, and with you saying that, and she won't mind me saying her name, but she couldn't be here this morning. We have a lady at our church named Miss Cornelia, and she started in at the program with us too, because I asked ladies at our church to take the program to be able to help as it grew. And she would bring us cookies, and at first we were doing a morning session and a night session, and she was quick to say, I've never been in any domestic violence, but I want to support you in this and help anyone I can. And she would bring cookies to the morning and the night one. Well, our second lesson was on boundaries. And right after that lesson, she said, Miss Margie, I said, what? And she said, I need to tell you I'm not coming to the night classes anymore. I will make sure you have enough cookies, but I don't want to drive at night anymore, so I'll only be at the morning classes. And I jokingly said, but you're not supposed to use that against me. But in reality, I was very happy that she was standing up for herself and stating what, she meant to do. So it helps everybody, especially those boundary lessons. Does anybody else have an intro you want to start off telling about how you found her journey or how you're here? And we have 3 other ladies with us. One is going through the program now. One is helping me with it all the way through, and this is her 3rd time doing it, and one has completed the entire program but doesn't have her certificate because Miss Margie has been lax in giving her a survey. So they come from different backgrounds and different stages in life, and that's why we asked them here, so you could see the benefit that it has to everyone. So how about, I'm going to ask the most outspoken one of you to Erica, how about if you tell us how you found her journey?
Well, and thank you for having me today, Margie, by the way. I found her journey because I have known Holly for many, many years, and I was actually supporting her through Purple Power Night they had, and she'll probably explain that a little bit later, but she had several guests there, and it was for empowerment for women. And my idea was, well, Holly had texted me at the last minute and said, "Are you coming?" Because I don't do Facebook. So she knows to let me know ahead of time, but she'd forgotten to remind me. So I was a little bit late. In my mind, I was just going to support Holly because I didn't need any of that stuff. I was fine. I dealt with all my past skeletons in my closet. But my history with is not, I'm not currently in a domestic violence relationship. I've had lots of abuse in my past, a date rape, and several other situations, just kind of, all over the place all through my life. And until the last, 20 years in my current wonderful relationship with my husband. So I had felt like I dealt with everything. But when I came to the program, or the Purple Power Night, Purple Power
Panel. Try saying that 3 times
yes,
fast.
Right. Thank you, Margie. I started listening to Margie's story, and I just could not. I started crying and couldn't stop, and realized that I really did need the program. More than I had. I thought I was fine. I thought I dealt with it, and the past was the past, and obviously I had not. And I feel like not only had I not dealt with it recently, it's something I'm going to have to probably do for the rest of my life, is continually be aware of my past and deal with it in positive ways, because I had been dealing with the pain in negative ways, overeating and alcohol and shopping.
Shopping gets us all.
And what it is, you know.
It gets us.
And so I've really enjoyed the classes, and I've learned a lot, and I've taken a lot away from, learned a lot from it. And I recommend it to anyone.
Thank you. All right, how about you, Miss Lynn? First of all, the first classes we did when we did the personality thing, there was like 9 people in the room, and me and Holly were the choleric ones, which are the bossy, mean, do what I ask you to people, and everybody else was the one in the room, was in that room because me or Holly had personally invited them.
Well, it wouldn't be bossy. It would be like the leader people.
I have leadership skills, people. It's not bossiness. All right, Lynn.
Hi. Well, I'm Lynn, and I'm in my early 40s, and I've never experienced abuse in past relationships. And how I came to attend the class, as Margie said, is that she announced it and invited ladies at her church, and I'm a member at her church, to attend. And I thought it sounded very interesting, and I thought it was an opportunity also to help Margie. And so I attended it out of curiosity and interest. And I'm really glad that I attended it, because what I found was, even though I had not been through any abuse in the past, that there were certain emotional issues and attitudes that I had that I needed to deal with and I needed to address. And I found that it was also a time for me to reflect on things that had happened in my past that I never really gave time to think about. And what I love about the class is that you not only have the lessons that address it from a biblical perspective, from God's word, which is powerful, but also you have Margie's experience, which I think helps make the class well-rounded, because of her experiences, she can connect with a lot of what I had been through and what a lot of the other ladies are going through. And I didn't feel like I didn't fit into the class. I felt like there was something in every class for me. And there was a string, just to mention on a personal level, but there's a string of thoughts that ran through each class that really touched me in a personal way, and it had to do with God having a design and a purpose for my life, and in spite of me, and that there's a role that he has for me that only me could fill. And that touched me tremendously, because scripture says that we are designed by God for his purpose, and that rang through in every single lesson. I thought that was amazing. And also that even though we've made mistakes in our past and we're not perfect, that God can use us where we are. So I thought that was beautiful. And while I was attending the course, my mom decided to join me, and that was very special and extra special for a number of reasons. But she and my dad were having some challenges, and she thought it would be good for her to attend the course. And through that attending and through her conversations with Margie, she was able to find help with the situation that they were dealing with. And I think she was able to address those issues and feel happy with where she was. And it worked out really well, because sadly my mom passed not too long after she started attending the course, but I credit the course with her and my dad being able to enjoy their last few months together. So that's really awesome, and I would recommend it, like Holly said, for anybody, even if you have not been in an abusive relationship.
Thank you, Lynn. And now I'm going to point out to anyone that ever comes to our lessons, ever again in the future, that sometimes we say, okay, God is the one that fills our needs. He gives us the cake. We have our bread and our cake. And Lynn is the one who's coined the phrase, but she loves the icing and the sprinkles. The husbands bring the icings and the sprinkles so that other people in our life can add to what God has already put there, but God is the base for it. So if you hear me talking about icing and sprinkles, which we're thinking about making into a t-shirt, that's where it comes from. All right, Miss Amy, you've got a few words to share with us.
Hi there. Yes, I just want to say that I enjoy the group, because I've never really been in some of the situations some of the other ladies have been in, but I have gotten help through the program, through different personal situations, dealing with my mom, dad, so forth, and everything. And it has really helped me. So I would suggest, anybody, just like everybody else, anybody come that needs some emotional support, because I've met some pretty awesome ladies through this group, so I've enjoyed it.
And Amy said to me not long ago that she really likes the group of ladies that we have started surrounding ourselves with, and she comes to all the meetings, just like I do. I get something out of all of them. Matter of fact, I was dealing with something about a month ago, and all of a sudden I'm sitting in the meeting leading the lesson, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not through dealing with that part. And I do want to go, and first thing I want to say is, we all talked about the self-improvement that it's added to our lives. I want to point out again, if you have been a victim of abuse or domestic violence, it is not your fault. There is nothing you could do that would have changed it, except maybe leave. That's really the only thing that could have changed it. And the self-improvement work that we do through the Her Journey program is to help us learn how to change some of our flesh patterns and coping patterns that we have learned that may not be good for healthy relationships. It helps us, when we've dealt with bullies in school, that leaves a mark on you, and that makes you believe things about yourself, and so you deal with things a certain way. But her journey helps you go inside and change those flesh patterns and get an appreciation for who God designed you to be, who you really are, and what you're worth. Your value is more than rubies and pearls. You are precious in His sight. And one of my favorite phrases, I have two favorite phrases from her journey. The first one, though, one of them deals with this one, and it says that it went straight out of my head right at that moment. So I'm going to tell you the other one, then I'll come back to this one. The first one I do is, when you're in a time of trouble or in trauma, you're in a valley. And when you're in that valley and going through it, there's muck and mire, and sometimes there's hard times to do in there. And we say that it points out, because it's loosely based on Psalms 23, it says we go through the valley. We do not pitch our tent and camp there. And unfortunately, a lot of us will do that from time to time, so we need to pull up those tent pegs and get marching on so that we can make the improvements in our life. And if that other phrase pops in my mind before we end, I'll share it with you, but that happens sometimes, especially with me.
I'd like to point out that when you're trying to get out of the valley, it's really good to have a group of women to help you get out of there, because sometimes you don't see that exit.
Yes.
And the group and the support that you get will help you get out of there.
Right. If you didn't have a support system, or you needed to strengthen yours, we have a great sisterhood in the groups that we lead in this area. I mean, when we have to skip a group, we miss each and every person that's not there. And then when the ones who have finished the group, aren't coming, we miss them too. We enjoy spending time with the women that we do. So again, abuse is not your fault, and domestic violence is not your fault. The only fault it is of yours is if you stay, and if you stay in that circumstances. The person doing the abuse is about power and control for whatever reason that they have, and they are the only ones that can do the changing that's needed to do. They have to talk with God themselves and make the changes, but they have to want to do it. And there's we can pray, and that's our job. We're to pray there for them, but they have to make the changes. And the Bible says repentance is necessary, and repentance is not just saying I'm sorry. Repentance is saying I'm sorry, I realize what I've done, and turning away from it, not to do it anymore. Now, does that mean we never do the things anymore? We're all human, so yeah, we do. But there is a line that you draw there. So I want to take just a minute, and each of you tell me that so far, what has been your most defining lesson that you think of that has left an impact on you? They're all taking a deep breath like, she didn't give me this question.
Her journey, I've dealt with a lot of many years of healing. You and I have been through so much together, Margie, and when you go through it, there's always something you can take from it. There's always a section in your life that is happening at your moment. And when I started with it, I was dealing with extreme loss, and it was traumatic, and her journey helped me get through a lot of those levels to be able to move forward and not have all that anguish anymore from the loss. It wasn't from the domestic violence, it was from the loss from a family member, and that was important to get over.
Absolutely. And it tells you in here with domestic violence and abusive situations, that is a death, because you expect, here's my wonderful relationship and it's going to last forever and we're going to be happy and do this and that, and when it doesn't happen that way, it's really hard to handle, and that is a loss in your life that you have to deal with. That's a whole lesson in itself.
We could talk for an hour.
Yeah, we
on
could.
This.
I can tell you, if Miss Erica, can you think of one that you want to mention so far?
Actually, the very first lesson meant a lot to me. We remember talking about denial, and I was I think that's when I first realized how much in denial I actually was. And when I went home, actually it was a few days later, I journaled about it and actually discovered that my first abuse situation was the mean girls in my grade school.
Right. And that happens. It is. And I can tell you one thing that I love about leading this program is when somebody gets it, there's like, you see that light in their eyes, you see it change. And I've seen growth in Erica just in the portions of the program that she's done, to the point that she saw, we talked about, I had done a healing portrait. She's done her own healing portrait that is fantastic, and it's going to be on display at Happy Life during the Fall Art Walk on Thursday the 22nd. We're going to post that all over the place because I'm so proud of her, and she said I could. I was hoping she would say I could, and it has inspired, other people. It's like, oh, I might do that. It's not hanging in here, unfortunately, but we're going to share that for the Fall Art Walk. Miss Amy, Miss Lynn, do you have a specific one you want to mention that might have been very beneficial to you?
Well, I realized in one of the lessons that there were some issues I hadn't dealt with. My mom passed away like 30 years ago, and I can't remember which specific lesson it was, but it brought back memories that maybe I hadn't dealt with some emotional issues similar to what Holly was talking about. And it brought that up, so really this program can help any emotional stress you might have on yourself, and I would suggest it to any woman, so, because it really helps me in different aspects.
And with Miss Amy, I have noticed, especially over this last session that we're doing, I even told my husband, she's getting a little sassy, and she's getting a little outspoken, and she's always been a little outspoken and sassy with me, but she don't always let it come out with other people, and she is grown to the fact that she speaks up quite often in class, and she is able to help mentor the other women that's going through things and talk with them, and she's doing a great job of that. There's no way I could do that without my sassy Miss Amy. Miss Lynn, do you have a specific issue that you'd like to mention that's been helpful?
I think one of the things that it helped me think about is anger. I think there was a lesson on anger, and that's an emotion that I have to be honest with myself that I struggle with from time to time. But one of the things that was said in the lesson is that, how does it go? It's something to do with our reaction and our response. Like, we can react, which is just that our emotions get the better of us, or we can choose to respond. Right. And so it has to do with controlling your attitude and your response. And it also highlighted that, it's because of sin and the fall that all our relationships have been tarnished. Our relationships were meant to be perfect, husband and wife, brother and sister. So it made me realize that it's because of that fall. And the only person who can restore that and heal us is Jesus. So
absolutely.
I love that it points us back to him, but also we have a responsibility to examine ourselves and respond differently.
That's good. And Miss Lynn has the most loving heart. I mean, she will love on you, and she is a prayer warrior. So if you need that, she is fantastic at that. And she got over her nervousness, her and Miss Amy both, to come in and talk today, because the other three of us are a little bit outgoing, although I'm sure Erica was like, radio? What radio? and it's along the lines as, it helped me when I started going through it as a participant. It started helping me deal with a family member that, was not my husband, but was reminding me of things I had gone through in a first marriage. It helped me deal with that issue a lot. I cannot tell you how much. But one of our most popular lessons is the one on boundaries. And that's one just about everybody needs. Like I told you Miss Cornelia's experience in that. We all need to learn to set healthy boundaries and to know that if something's not good for us, it is okay for us to say no. But I can tell you, so, these ladies said it was okay to share their first names, and we want to protect those that come to us as we help with them to heal. So I thank all of you for coming this morning and giving me your time, and you're going to be so glad that you did, because it is for a very good purpose. Thank you, and we will talk next week.
Moving is a big decision. Selling or buying a home in any market, but especially today's, can raise a lot of questions. Hi, I'm Amy with Killingsworth Realty. My husband Todd and I serve the Coweta and local area. Our purpose at our first meeting is to learn your goals, answer questions, and provide resources so that you can make the best decision for you and your family. Find us online at killingsworthrealty.com or call 678-525-0047 to schedule a free consultation today to discuss your real estate needs. You don't have to do this alone.
Hi, I'm Holly Reese.
I'm the founder of Warrior Defenders. I'm a certified tactical self-defense instructor, and I specialize in women's self-defense. I teach technical drills for survival skills and education on self-defense tools and how to use them. My journey started in self-defense because I'm a domestic violence survivor. I'm here to empower women, to teach them how to be their own heroes, and to learn today to have a safer tomorrow.
You can find Holly online at www.warriordefenders.com.
Hello, I'm Pina Payne with Contour Mortgage, and we're so excited. We have just moved to this new company, and we are located at 560 Noonan Crossing Bypass in Noonan next to Art and Jake's, and we have some great products. Our interest rates are better than any other companies, and we also have some great products for the VA. We can do a better deal for you with fees than any other company. We have a lot of different kind of programs.
Shopping for insurance doesn't have to be stressful. I'm Christy, owner of Ellsworth Insurance, located here in Noonan, Georgia. We're an independent agency with access to multiple carriers for home, auto, life, health, and commercial insurance. We're your one-stop shop for your insurance needs. Visit our website at www.insurewithellsworth.com or call the office at 770-755-7053 to schedule an appointment. We look forward to meeting you soon.
You have been listening to Tea Talks with Margie Conway in association with Connecting Hearts Network, connecting hearts of women to resources, inspiration, and one another. Tune in next week for another episode of Tea Talk. WQEE 99.1.
Lowe's always has more ways for you to save. On top of our everyday low prices, pros can save big when buying in bulk. Or if your purchase is over $1,500, ask about our volume savings program. A pro associate can provide a customized quote. Ask about our volume savings programs today. It always pays to be a pro at Lowe's. While supplies last, minimum purchase required. Selection varies by location. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities. Volume discount pricing quotes are valid up to 7 days. Visit your local pro desk to learn more and start saving. Offers subject to change and may not be available in all Lowe's stores.
So, the other day, I bought a cockatoo. Hello! He's a handful, but I'll manage.
I love that for you!
Just like I manage without home internet. Sure, my mobile hotspot is slow and makes streaming shows unbearable, but I'm making do. Oh no, who's this?
It's mating season, Dad!
No home internet? It's not that bad!
It is that bad. Don't settle. Switch to Xfinity and get mobile and home internet together. Call, click, or visit a store today.